Hey Book Talk, welcome back to our weekly live Q&A session here on TikTok. I am so excited to get your questions answered today. If you are jumping in and joining me live, feel free to hit me up below, and you know the drill. The more you talk to me, the more likely you are to win one of the copies of my ebooks, your choice. The only thing off limits is the omnibus because there's more than one book in there. And I choose this based off of comments. We scroll through and we find a winner. So I'm super excited to be hanging out with all of you today. We've got some cool things going on. We've got some announcements, and I want to make sure that we are answering all of your questions today. We've been getting some really good ones here on TikTok, and if you did not see, we are over the 10K threshold. I am so excited because now we can do extra special bonus things here on TikTok. We're going to be doing some celebrating. I've got some new series that we're going to be dropping and big secrets. So I'm very, very excited for this one. It is going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to dive in and tell you more, but most of it is top secret. Now, we have been doing some really cool things, and I've been a little bit on the quiet side this week because we had a little bit of an emergency I had to handle this week. It's still ongoing. It'll be okay, we think. But it is kind of messing up my schedule a little bit, which is why we're early today. I know we're an hour early than we usually are. And I'm really excited to see all of you, so thanks for joining me an hour early this Friday so that we can get your questions answered. If you're jumping in, let's talk about my books, my characters, my author journey. Let's talk about the publishing world. Let's talk about all those fun, fabulous things and get your questions answered. And remember, the more you talk to me, the more likely you are to win one of my ebooks, and I don't put a limit on that. So if you show up every single week, you could potentially win every single time I'm live and get my entire collection for free. I'm just saying. So if you've got questions, now's a great time to drop those down below. And for those of you that did not see, I have answered your request. You've been asking, you've been waiting, and you know I had some of this out already for you. I have some swag on my website. I've got some swag on Amazon Prime, but we just added brand new designs to both Amazon Prime and Redbubble, and we've got the Book Talk shirts, which I'm so excited for, and a bunch of other designs as well. Let me hold that up so you can see it better. There we go. So I'm really excited. This is in my bio link. You can go check out all those fun, fabulous things. I'm so excited to share these with you, and we are dropping brand new swag, not only shirts, but like actual like swaggy things too on Redbubble and on Amazon Prime, so you can go get them right now. And these are I'm actually using these as a fundraiser because we had a little bit of a crisis in my family. My mother just bought a brand new house, and the guy who sold it covered up a lot of stuff, and she's getting hit with a $25,000 bill to redo a drain field that he covered up. So, buy a shirt, help my mother afford a new drain field so her house stops flooding. It's kind of a great, like, early Christmas present to my family. So go check it out. You get the really cool shirts, and you get to wear them on social media as well. There's a bunch of designs. And I see your questions are coming in, so let's go ahead and dive in and get those answered for you. Oh, that's so cute. It's cute. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. Some of the designs are in long sleeve, yes. If you do not see a design you like on Amazon Prime, there's more over on Redbubble because as a person who does merch with Amazon Prime, they have very small limitations. So you can get other designs and other types of shirts over on Redbubble as well. So make sure you check out both of those locations. But there are some really cool long sleeves. I think there's some like hoodie things. Like there's lots. There's also like, you know, buttons and masks. There are masks on Redbubble. All sorts of really cool bookish designs. So go check those out. How did I get started as an author? Well, there's tons and tons of information on youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks where I've actually been giving you fleshed out answers to these bookish questions, like how to get into the publishing industry, how to pick if you're going to be indie or traditional. All those things are over on YouTube. But for me personally, I had actually, I was a huge reader as a kid. Growing up, my mother was a librarian. I was a reader. I went off to college, and college had me busy. I didn't really have time to read, so I lost a couple of years of reading time. Like I did once in a while, but not very much. After I graduated, I jumped into the workforce. I was an elementary school teacher, and I needed a distraction on my non-school time, and I started reading again. And I discovered the world of young adult novels. I had totally skipped over that. Like, I went from, like, middle grades books all the way to adult books. I don't even know why I existed. So when I got out of college and I discovered this world, I fell for it. And so I started interacting with the authors, and the authors realized I was a professional photographer. So they asked me to help take pictures of their books and teach them. So I taught them how to take pictures to market. Then they asked me to teach them how to market, because I was doing really well on social media. And then the photographer saw me, the professional mermaid saw me, the business owner saw me teaching authors how to do it, and they dragged me into teaching social media over there. But because I still had that connection with the authors, I was in the author world. I was helping with the book industry, and as I was reading, I came across a book that left a hole in my heart, and I didn't know how to search on Amazon properly, so I couldn't find another book to fill that hole, so I wrote it. And then I wrote another one, and then I wrote another one, and then my friend found out, and she said I had to query. And so I kind of ran with it, because I was very heavily involved in the book industry. I had tons of bestseller author friends, and so without telling anybody, I started querying my books. There were some bidding wars. I turned down all the contracts. I didn't like the contracts the way that they were, so I said no, and for a year, I did nothing with my books. A year later, I found the right fit, the right publisher for my first book, and off we go. 3 years later, we've got over 24 books out there, lots of bestsellers, not just like category bestsellers, but like actual best-selling novels. I'm really excited about it. And some really cool stuff. So it was kind of an accident that I got into the publishing industry, but it was like a series of small steps that all worked toward that. But if you have questions on getting into the publishing industry, youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks. All right, if you've got questions, I would love to get those answered for you. We are going to chat about those today and get those questions answered. What is Steampunk Aladdin book called? Did you just see the video I posted just now? That is called Lions and Lamps. It is part of the Stealing Steam series, and it is a steampunk Aladdin retelling. Actually, let me see if I can grab the cover. It's a really fun story that's based more on the original than what Disney did to it. And we have Aladdin, who is a boy living with his mother, because his mother exists in the actual original Aladdin story, which, by the way, is Chinese. And he is kind of tricked into... Wow, I'm having a time finding this. He is tricked into joining a deadly competition on behalf of his uncle after his father was murdered, and he has to steal an airship. Whoever steals the airship is going to be the richest person in the country. Now, Aladdin's goal is to get his mother out of the country because his uncle's being weird and there's bad stuff going down. He, of course, stumbles across Sira, who is my princess. Sira won the competition last year and stole the airship, the Empress. This year, she is sneaking back into the competition because she wants to steal it and provide a home for the orphans, because she was an orphan who was plucked from the streets because her adoptive father actually knew about this competition in advance, so he had years to pull this orphan girl and train her to win this deadly cutthroat competition. And so they run into each other. It is not love at first sight. There's a genie who has an agenda of his own. There's a lot of really cool things in here, and my hometown was actually the first site of a steam locomotive in the United States, so I have a couple of nods to my hometown and that story in there as well. It's really, really fun. Lions and Lamps, the first book in the Stealing Steam series. Let me go ahead and keep reading. If you've got questions, now's a great time. And the more you talk to me, the more likely you are to win your choice of one of my ebooks. Everything is up for grabs except for the omnibuses, because that's more than one book in that collection. And so, as I'm like fanning out my covers for you guys to see. And I don't put limits on that, so you can win week after week after episode of our live streams. All those fun, fabulous things. The more you talk to me, the more likely you are, because I scroll through and pick a comment. All right, scrolling. Oop, this always jumps on me. That's amazing. Thank you. Where do you usually get your inspiration from? Now, interestingly with that, I tend to keep a running note on my phone. So anytime I see like something that triggers an idea or a thought or like some piece of architecture, I'm very inspired by the world around me. I will write it down. I will take notes. In fact, I once built an entire book series around a bridge overpass I drove over because I really liked how it looked under it. And it inspired an entire dystopian novel, which you guys haven't seen yet, but might soon. So I keep a running list of like lines that I like, names that I like, ideas that I like, things I want to twist up, all those things on my phone, and then when it's time to write something new, I'll go through and I'll pick from there. And I highly recommend that you do as well. If you like the book, if I were you, wait, hold on. If you like the book, if I were you, I would take a look at, Oh, yeah. Because, so we were just talking, sorry, that was, that was me, like, jumping topics. We were just talking about Lions and Lamps, and Red was the imposter. Actually did some really cool cosplays for my Aladdin inside of Lions and Lamps. So I've actually kicked some of them out on mine, but they're all over on this account, so go hit that up, because that's fun. It is so fun. Oops, we're jumping again. What is your favorite book that you have written? Nitty Infinity. I like that name. That's fun. So I have 2 favorite books out of my over 2 dozen books. They are my 2 debut twins. I say twins because they came out 3 months apart because my publisher made me wait. But it's the Golden Trilogy and the Jaded Duology. They are my babies. They are my firstborns, my debut twins. They're my Goldilocks retelling and my dystopian, where a girl is forced to marry her father's enemy's son, and they're gonna bring her into the family, make everybody believe they love her, and murder her to get back at her father because he started a rebellion that they caught when she was a child, and she has to make her new husband fall in love with her in order to survive, and cat and mouse, and it's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but why dystopia? It's great. And then Golden is my Goldilocks retelling, where she was never naive. She was sent on a mission, and Dump Bear is her new target. So she's a spy out to get the bear family. Lots of fun. I have 6 of your books on the way, and you can't wait. Luna! Oh my goodness, 6? That's a lot. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you grabbing all those books. That's so exciting to me. If you love them, please come DM me and let's talk about the characters and like the world building and what happens, and like you can yell at me for being mean. If you don't like them, I don't need to know. Please don't tell me. You do you. We can still be friends. But if you do like them, come talk to me about them. And please don't hurt my feelings if you don't, because that will make me cry. You can have your opinions, just I don't need to know them. What's my favorite fairy tale? So I have 2 favorite fairy tales in general, and it's because I have connections to them. The first is Goldilocks, because she has golden hair. Everyone always portrays Goldilocks as this girl with like white blonde hair. That's not it. Go to any store, match the hair colors to the hair dyes. I have golden hair, or at least I did when I was a child. I've never dyed my hair, but because I don't get outside so much, it is a little bit darker now. So growing up, my hair always matched the golden color, and everybody got it wrong. I love Goldilocks' story. My version of it, not the weird version where she like wanders into somebody's house for no reason and then like runs away. I fixed it, don't worry. The other of my favorite fairy tales is Rapunzel, because of the long hair, you know, locked in the tower, the whole, I just connect. I connect to that one. It is a fun one. Right now you're dry on Aladdin content, but you're going to cosplay tomorrow. Fantastic. I always like hearing more about the cosplays. Cosplays are so much fun. If you guys did not see my latest TikTok, the one I dropped right before we went live, I actually had an Author Convo episode all about cosplaying. What book do I recommend people jump in on first? The Jaded Duology is usually where I tell people to start. It's a pretty good representation of how vicious I am. It did make fans start an emotional support group. You will need tissues. Good luck. But it is definitely a fun, emotional roller coaster of a read. And it's one that's not a retelling, because I do a lot of retelling. So it's got something for everybody. I love it. If I want to start writing, how do I organize all of my ideas? So this is going to be different for everybody, but I would recommend keeping a running timeline of everything that happens. So I do recommend for somebody who's new into the industry, you plot your book. So you know step by step exactly what you're writing before you write it. Otherwise, it's going to be a ton of work fixing it later on, because it will be messy. And I recommend keeping a running timeline, like the chapter number, the page number, and the document you're working on there, and then bullet points of everything that happens so you know where it is and where to find it. I recommend keeping a character list. So hair color, eye color, how tall they are if you mention that, the types of clothing that they wear, the people they're connected to, the people that they're dating, things that they say frequently, anything that's important that might come up later on, put there. Also, if they get injured along the way or if something happens to them, please write that down. I cannot tell you the number of times my character has like gotten cut or hurt, and thank goodness I wrote that down, because I would have messed that up later on. For me, I keep 3 screens on my screen at all times, my manuscript, and then to one side is that character list, and the other side is the timeline, but that is just me. There are programs like Scrivener out there that do help you organize. There's lots of things, and I get this question a lot, and people want to see my screen a lot. So I'm actually going to be doing a video on that in the relatively near future. So stay tuned. I will show you exactly what I do and how you can be using that. But it really comes down to you personally and what you need visually to see while you are writing. But I do recommend having that character list, having a timeline, plot everything out, and then if you do extensive world building, like if you're in a fantasy novel, create a world Bible just so you know exactly what's going on, and if you need to check on something later on, you can check on that just to make sure that really could happen in the world that you've created. All right, keep those questions coming in. We're going to get those answered for you. We are a little bit early today. Usually we do this an hour from now, but today we've got a little bit of a celebration in my family. My mother is actually retiring today, semi-retiring. For reasons I can't discuss yet, but are pretty dang exciting. We got some cool things coming up in my family, which I'll share as soon as I am allowed to. But we're doing a celebratory dinner tonight, and usually I would leave right after our live streams, but I'm in charge of cake, so I have to go buy a cake. So we're early today. So I'm really excited that y'all join me. Keep the questions coming in. We're going to answer them. We're hanging out for, we've got some time, but this is going to be fun. So let me go ahead and let me scroll. Yours is Beauty and the Beast. You always relate to Belle, the weird girl in town who loves books. I adore that story. I truly, truly do. Like, if we're talking Disney, I have 5 Disney favorites, and she is definitely one of them. And no, you can't make me choose between the 5. I got 5 favorite Disney princesses. I'm just saying. But that is such a good one. And if you like that story, all I'm saying is maybe you should be, like, paying close attention to me and some announcements in the not-too-distant future is all I'm saying. If you got questions, now's the time to drop them. I would love to hear from you guys. And like I said, we have brand new merch. You asked for more shirt designs, more swag designs, other things. So we've got some really cool new ones. I am super excited for this. I can't see, guys. I don't know where this is going. Book Talk made me read it. But some other really cool bookish designs. There's some Bookstagram designs over there. There's like swag on my website too that go with my actual books. But there's bookish things on Amazon Prime, because I'm one of their merch creators, and over on Redbubble. Links are in my bio, so you can go check those out. And right now, the proceeds from all of those are actually going to my mother, because she has recently purchased a house. The guy who sold the house covered up some things that he shouldn't have, and she has to pay $25,000 minimum to fix a drain field that this guy covered up. So we're raising money, because that's a lot of money on a house she just bought and has only owned for like 3 months. So help a girl out. Let's do this and get this taken care of so she doesn't have to worry about that. All right, continuing with our scroll. You're most excited to read one about Sleeping Beauty. Yes, so I've got a great Sleeping Beauty story, virtually Sleeping Beauty. I have been asked many, many, many times to expand it, so I am expanding this series. It is a standalone novella right now, but there's going to be more in the world in the not-too-distant future. It's all about Sleeping Beauty getting trapped inside of a virtual reality video game and can't wake up in the real world. And so the woman she's staying with, her mom's best friend, has panicked. She calls up her nephew, who plays this game, and says, go into the game and get this girl. She's, like, in there longer than she's supposed to be. She must have juiced to stay in. It's like she's going to get in big trouble, and she can get hurt in the real world if she doesn't wake up. So she sends this nephew in. He goes in, golden knight, all swagger and ready to save this girl, and she outranks him. And so he's really just there to be eye candy. It's so much fun. It is such a fun read. She gets to battle digital dragons and evil magicians and evil queens and just, such a fun read. So I hope you do check it out. And if you do, please leave a review on Amazon. That allows me to buy ads so that other people can see my books, so that I can make money, so that I can keep writing books. Because, y'all, you don't make much money off of a book as an author, like $1 or $2. So every sale counts, which means we really need to be able to run ads, and we aren't able to run ads if we don't have a bunch of reviews on there, because the ad companies say no. So help a girl out. Leave a review on Amazon. What is my favorite book that I have not written? Okay, so I've actually got a couple of these. I love The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I love Divergent by Veronica Roth, who I did a book signing with at New York Comic Con last fall. I love the Selection series by Kara Cass, and I am a big fan of A Sinner series by Abby Kettner and Missy Kalikicki. That makes sense. Also, what's a good sized book to start writing? Like how many pages? We do not speak in pages as the publishing industry because that depends on the font size, the font style, the spacing. It's not consistent. We talk in word count. So word count never changes. A word count is always going to be your word count. And if you are looking at the YA space, the lowest you're going to be looking at for like a full-length novel is like low 60,000 words. And that's for like contemporary, that's for some dystopias, that is probably on the small side for fantasy, but it really depends on the genres that you're going to be writing in. Now, that does not mean every book has to be 60,000 plus words. There are things called novellas and novelettes. These are shorter stories, and if you are just jumping in, could be a good place to start, but also depends on what you plan on doing with it. If you plan on making it a series, if you plan on going traditional or indie. So it really comes down to what you're going to be working on. So I can't give you a definitive answer on that unless I knew a lot more information, but just like in general, like you should be looking at for a full-length novel, like no less than like 61, 62,000 words in the YA space. Okay, scrolling up. How to help come up with subplots in books. So if you are writing a book and you need those subplots, you should be plotting your book before you jump into writing it. Get your main storyline, and when you know everything that's going to be happening, you can start to see little threads where you can like weave in extra things to enhance that main story with the subplots. So plot your book out, know the main points, like the main storyline, and then you're going to be able to find those little pockets where you can start weaving in those other things and build it up from there. Girl, you got 5 Disney princesses too. Hey, I like it. What are my 5 favorite Disney princesses? Okay, let me see if I can get this correctly. I love Ariel, Belle, Jasmine, Elsa, and Rapunzel. I'm like, I never say it in the same order, so I'm always like, who did I miss? My favorites are Ariel and Belle, Jasmine, Rapunzel, and Elsa. There we go. I got it. I really should learn an order to that and always say it the same way so that I don't struggle like this. The merch is amazing. Yes, I'm so glad that you love it. I've been working very hard on it. And like I said, there's shirts over on Amazon Prime. There are different types of shirts, same designs, different types of shirts, and some additional designs as well over on Redbubble. But there's also like clocks and curtains and blankets and notebooks and like all sorts of interesting things over on Redbubble. So check that out as well. And then if you want bookish swag that goes with my books, like right now I'm wearing a bookish necklace. You cannot get this one. This is sold out. This is it. But there are other types of like jewelry and like prints and like swags and stuff on my website, as well as signed books. So lots of merch that you can be buying, which is great for Christmas presents. Speaking of which, next week, I'm actually about to announce some special extra bonus Christmas things that you can be getting, including book boxes. So that's coming next week. Stay tuned. I will have more information on that one for you next week. It's going to be fun. You're working on a retelling of I'm working on a retelling of a dark and twisted Little Mermaid-ish from the Sea Witch's backstory. Nice! I always love reading Sea Witch backstories. Those are super fun. And for those of you that don't know, get ready, get your popcorn. I'm friends with the animator who created Ariel and Ursula. Like, we're tight. We talk all the time. We DM each other on Facebook. It is fun. I interview him all the time. His name is Philo Barnhart. He's the one who created Ariel's brassiere. He designed the clasp on the back of it. He was responsible for a lot of the work on Ariel and on Ursula. He hung out with Jodie Benson, the voice of Ariel, took her to lunch and made her sing around the corner and everybody heard her, like all the fun things. He hung out with the voice of Ursula. There was just, so many good stories. He did Beauty and the Beast as well. He did Secret of Nim, Ever After. Like, he did Star Trek, y'all. This man is like, he's been in a lot of really cool things and had his hand in a lot of really cool things. And I have interviews over on my YouTube page, so you can check that out. But if you want me to interview him live so you can come and ask questions, he's actually asked to come back soon. So as soon as our schedules connect properly, we're doing a live stream for you. But ask me anyway. Let me know you want to see that and you would like to have those conversations with Philo in the not-too-distant future over on YouTube and on Facebook. Continuing with the scroll. If you've got questions, now's a great time to drop those in. I would love to get them answered. We're here hanging out, doing all the fun things. And the more you talk to me, the more likely you are to win one of my ebooks. Your choice. I do not restrict how many times you can win. So the more you show up, the more you hang out with me, the more likely you are to win again and again and again and again. And potentially you could win all of my books. I'm just saying. The only restriction I do have is you can't pick the omnibuses because those are multiple books in one. Man, the more you talk, the more you need the water. You had mentioned world building tips when I tuned in. Could you restate the main points, please? So we were just talking about when it comes to world building, create a Bible. So anything that happens inside of your world building, have a running list so that later on in a fantasy novel or even in a sci-fi novel, you can go back and check and see if that really could happen, especially though with the fantasy world stuff. Because you're implementing magic into this. So can they do this? Does this person have the ability to use this power? Or can the power affect people this way or affect the world this way? How would this change? Is this something that actually can realistically happen in the world they built or not? Create that Bible so that you can go back and check. And I do, of course, recommend that you keep a character list as well as part of your world building. So eye color, hair color, height, things that they frequently say, things they frequently wear, people they've been connected to, any family members, any people that they've dated, any injuries that they accumulate along the way. Write all those things down so that you have them and can then recheck them, because you do not want a couch appearing and then disappearing inside of your scene. I had a friend of mine on, I believe, my podcast, and we were talking about that disappearing couch inside of their novel, and it just showed up and it didn't show up. I want to say that was, I want to say it was Elise Cove, but I'm not positive. I am not positive now. But you want to make sure that you, mark these things down. Keep a running list so you don't have things appearing and disappearing. I have written scenes where, somebody got injured, and then the next scene, they were perfectly fine, and I caught it while I was editing it because I went back and I checked, and we fixed things. But, write it down, keep that running list, and it will save you a lot of time and effort. Advice for teen writers. I have a full video on youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks on that, talking about what you can and cannot do when you have to have your parents involved and when you don't, and the legal side of things. So teens can be writers. You can be published authors. But there are some legal things if you are a minor that you do need to pay attention to in terms of the fact that you can't sign a contract legally until you're 18, so you have to have your parents involved in certain stages of this process. So go over to youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks to learn more about that. I don't know if you've answered this before, but did you start as indie? I am a hybrid author, so I am both traditionally and indie published, and I've got books out in both of those worlds, and so I've got tons of info on that on youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks. What things do you put into subplots? That is going to have to... I'm sorry, if you hear that, that's my dog. She is sleeping next to me, she is dreaming, and she is making some noise. Apologies. Subplot really is going to have to be things that support your main storyline but are just a little bit off, and that would be specific to each book. So I feel like unless I have details, I can't really super help with that. But I'm glancing at my covers, I'm off the top of my head, out of my 24 published books, what can I think of for that stuff? Oh, I got it. Okay, we're good. I got you. So in the Jada duology, my characters both have some hobbies. They've got things that they do in their personal lives, and I weave a little bit of that into the story. Yes, it's important to the main storyline. Yes, it supports the main storyline, but they do definitely have a little bit of subplot going with with my guy, Roan. He sneaks off and does things his father doesn't know, and it supports the main storyline, but there's also this subplot of Jade working him into doing it a little more frequently to get him to step aside from constantly obeying his father so that he doesn't murder her. And so we kind of work in some subplot there. So subplot is just like the adjacent storylines that help grow things along, but is not super specific to that main storyline. And of course, it depends on each individual book. Oh, you want to hear about the Revolution of Jack Frost, do you? Well, that is a fun story there. It is a Jack Frost retelling. It is dystopian sci-fi. And basically what happens is this group of people live in this bunker. And the world around them changes very quickly. So they've got a couple of days of summer, and then like 2 days of fall, and then like 10 days of winter, and then like 2 days of spring, and then like a week of summer, and it just kind of rotates pretty secularly, and they have to survive it. What they don't know is that there's an outside world. They don't know that there's like other people and that they're kind of being observed. They're being watched. They're being tested because in the outside world there was like a big nuclear disaster type thing, and they're breeding people, almost breeding people. They're like training people to survive so they can form a breed that survives up on the top, which we don't learn a ton about in the first book in that series. But we start to see the seasons are going out of that cycle that we're used to. And then people start like losing fingers on like the third page. And they have to figure out who has betrayed them and like what's going on and like what's in the outside world. And it's a very interesting story. And of course, only one person can save them. Jack Frost. I'm going to be quiet about that one because I got some stuff I want to share with you, but I can't yet. So stay tuned. Do you have any templates to help people write their writing? I do not. Right now. I was thinking about doing some writing courses. I typically teach marketing. So there's some really great resources over on my website and then on camrobinson.com. So not the book site, but like where I actually teach like legit marketing. But I don't teach writing right now. I do private consultations and I do developmental editing. So I actually help people write their books and like developmentally edit their books, which is something you can hire me for if that's something you would like. But I don't have any like templates or like here's how to write tutorials out right now because that's just not something that I've done at this point. But if it's something a lot of people want, and it would have to be a lot of people because that's a ton of time and effort for me, I'd be happy to do some. We can definitely talk about that. So, start a petition, get people going. Oh, it's jumped. Hold on. I'm scrolling. Wow, there's a lot of questions. Yo, bringing the questions today. Okay, let me talk faster and get through more of these questions. That is amazing. I love The Little Mermaid and Ever After. I know, such good movies, right? Such good movies. For those of you just jumped on, I actually know the Disney animator who created a bunch of the childhood movies we all grew up with, and I do lots of interviews with him over on my YouTube page, youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks, so you can go check it out. And he wants to come back and interview again. So if you would like to meet him, please let me know. What is my favorite character that I've created? I love Jade from the Jade Duology, Illyria and Dove Bear from the Golden Trilogy, and I really love Annika and Hansel from Sugar Coated. And Jack Frost and Genesis from The Revolution of Jack Frost. I'm just going to keep talking. I'm going to move on. I was going to who else do I love? I love all my characters. I'm going to name all of them from all 24 books. You would love to read my books. They are on Kindle. Yes, so they're on Kindle. They are not on Kindle Unlimited. Books inside of Kindle Unlimited are not allowed to be on any other platform, so nobody else would have access to them. So I do not put them inside of Kindle Unlimited, but they are on Kindle. So you can get them through Kindle or iBooks, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google Play, all those fun, fabulous places. And several of them are free, so you can go check those out as well. How do I choose names for my characters? I don't like using names from people they're based on. Oh, well, you have to be very careful basing characters on people because they can sue you for that. So be extremely careful with that. I typically recommend don't do that. And definitely don't name them like that. You can get so sued for that. Please don't do that. But when it comes to names, I keep a running list of names on my phone. So anytime I come across a name I like, I'll write it down. Anytime I come across a name that sparks another name, I'll write it down. I tend to make up a lot of names as well, just like things I think sound pretty. And then of course there's like every once in a while I'll be like, it's a strategic name because of its meaning. So you can like check baby books and stuff. With my Golden Trilogy, I've got my Goldilocks on a mission to destroy the bear family, and all three of the bears. So I have a twisted bear family. It's not mama, papa, baby. It is an older brother and a younger brother, and then the older brother's wife. So it's a little bit of a twist on that. So it kind of acts like the older brother is the papa bear, his wife is like the mama bear, and then the younger brother is like the baby bear. All of their names, their last name is Bear, B-A-E-R, like the last name. And then all their first names actually mean bear. So those were like significant names. And sometimes you're going to do that. A lot of authors do that. But I tend to think what fits the story. So is it going to be like an old-timey name? Is it going to be like a fantasy name? Is it going to be a contemporary name? And then I pull things that I like or I make them up. So there's that. But like keep a running list. You can ask people. Like there's lots of ways. Baby name books. It's a thing. There you can just like Google things, and you can find it from there as well. Have you read the book Heartless? I really like it because it's a Queen of Hearts backstory. I have not, but I have heard such good things. I really need to get to that. I have not been able to read for fun in years. I typically, when I am reading, I am beta reading for my author friends. We like switch books and we check on each other's books early for them, or it is like work, my paid developmental editing work. So I haven't like picked up a book for fun, in a really long time. It's always been work related since I became an author, I think. Oh, it's been a while, y'all. I need to read the fun things. Okay. You have Kindle Unlimited and they have a lot of your books apart from the subscription. Yes. So I'm not on Kindle Unlimited, but you can find me on Kindle, and I do have several free books out on all the platforms, so you can get them for free from wherever for the ones that are listed as free. Am I a full-time writer? How did I start writing? So I'm a full-time a lot of things. I write full-time. I also teach social media strategy, so I teach entrepreneurs how to build profitable businesses through social media marketing. And I do photography, and I do a lot of design work. I do book cover designs, and videography stuff. So I actually run multiple businesses full-time. And that's because I cram about 4 days of work, like a normal person's 4 days of work, into a single day. I work very, very fast, and no, I don't drink coffee. But I'm a very fast-paced worker. Like, I write full-length novels in 9.5 days with only a handful of typos. And most people can't do that. So that just tells you, like, the speed I work at. But yeah, I spend a ton of time doing all my jobs. And I don't sleep that much. It's fun. It's a fun life. Do you have to have a degree to be a writer? Absolutely not. I do not. You will find even if you do have a degree, you still have a heck of a lot to learn once you get into the industry. You do not need a degree to be a writer. You should have a degree to be an editor, because there's a lot you have to learn. You can't just like be good at grammar or like read a lot of books. Don't do that. But as a writer, you don't have to have a degree. You do have to work with people who have degrees to check your work. So get a professional editor. Whether you are traditionally published or indie published, professional editor. Okay, moving on. What is your favorite type of book to read? I love retellings and I love dystopia. Those are my loves. I love them. I'll read some fantasy. I write fantasy. I read things that I don't write as well, but I love to read and write retellings and dystopians. Those are my true loves. Are you open to mentoring, helping younger writers with book plotting and maybe reading drafts? I do that in a paid capacity. I am a developmental editor, so if that's something that you want, you can hire me to do that for you. And then I do like the live streams where I answer questions for you guys, and I do some like massive group coaching like this. Like I'm helping people through NaNoWriMo right now. Next week we're going to have a live stream on Instagram on NaNoWriMo and how to work through National Novel Writing Month. So you can head on over there. But for the most part, if you've got like questions that apply to everybody, I'm happy to answer them on live streams. You can also hire me to work on your specific book, but I actually get hundreds of requests every single week for me to read people's books just to be nice, and I physically don't have the time to do that, so I have to say no to everybody that's not in a paid capacity, just because I would never write my own books or run my own businesses or like see my family or sleep or like anything if I tried to help everybody out for free just to be nice. I wish that I could. Truly, I do. I'm that girl who's like, how much free stuff can I throw at people? But it's a physical impossibility. So I'm here to cheerlead you, but if you want to hire me to help on your specific book, you're welcome to do that as well. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. What is my favorite book cover? Oh no, that's so hard. So I've designed all my book covers except for one, and it's really hard to make a choice. I also update my covers frequently to go with the genre trends. So like every couple of years I kind of update those book covers on my own. I also have some really, really pretty ones that I have not announced are being released yet. So I'm going to pass on answering that one because I don't know. I like them all. They're all so pretty, right? Right? Love them. Do I know how ghostwriting works? And can I explain how it does? Yes, I do. I have done ghostwriting before for other people. I have not written novels for other people. I have done a lot of business writing and like blogs and like stuff. I do have friends who are ghostwriters in the novel world, and I do know people who have used ghostwriters. So let's talk about what a ghostwriter is. A ghostwriter is someone who is hired, so they are paid to write a novel for someone, whether it's an author or a publisher. They're paid to write the novel. Usually, the person or the company hiring them starts off with like the idea. Sometimes they'll have it plotted out, and then they're just going to do the actual writing of it. Sometimes a ghostwriter can be hired to figure out the plot of it, so they'll like plot everything out, and then the writer will actually do the writing. It depends on each different situation and each different contract, but the general idea is that a ghostwriter writes the novel, and then the author or the company who is producing it goes back in and they edit it. They look at things, they're going to tweak things, they're going to make changes to make it specific to them, but the bulk of the work is done by somebody else. And then because they're paid as a ghostwriter, their name is not a part of it. They are paid to do it quietly in the background, and then the person who is paying them fixes it to make it more of their voice or like tweak anything that they like. And at that point, the person who wrote it is done. Their job is done. They've stepped aside. They have no say in editing. They have no say in it. Their name is not connected to it, and it is put out under that other author's name. Some authors do this. Usually, not always, but usually you will find that in the traditional book space, especially if they're producing a lot of books. Not everybody has the ability to write as fast as me and a lot of the indie world. Indie authors write really freaking fast. Like, whoo. I'm watching some of my friends do NaNoWriMo right now, and they're doing like I have an insane word count. They're going way beyond what I'm doing right now, and I'm just like, look at us go in the indie world. But ghostwriting is basically paying someone else to write the story, and then you can tweak it and put it out under your name, and you make the royalties off of it. Not a lot of people do it, but there are definitely some people out there who use this, and it is especially good for authors who maybe don't have as popular of a name to do some ghostwriting for people to get paid for it. So it's a good source of income if your books are not taking off right away, or if you don't have books out yet, if you are someone who has the training in which to do that. So for me personally, I have not ghostwritten books for people, but I have ghostwritten like websites and blog posts. I've worked with like different types of entrepreneurs to create like tons and tons of content, and then they just put their own spin on it and they go, but they either didn't want to take the time, or they weren't comfortable writing on the topic, or they weren't comfortable doing it, or whatever, for whatever reason they wanted somebody who had more knowledge to create that for them. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of contracts with it, but that's the basics of it. When you're writing, do you listen to music, and does it change the theme when writing? I typically do not listen to music because I end up singing the lyrics and sometimes typing the lyrics, so typically don't. If I do, sometimes it will be like an instrumental thing. Sometimes I'll listen to like Lindsay Sterling or like scores from movies and things, but typically I don't. I typically have to be in a more quiet setting. Every once in a while my brain will be like, no, you need the mood, but typically I don't. I do have a lot of friends who very strongly need music to write. I'm just not one of them. Can dreams make good books? I'm thinking of turning some of them into multiple books one day. Oh, so dreams you have. Yeah. There are lots of authors who dream something and it will inspire a book that they've written. Go for it. Make it make sense and you're good to go. Don't, however, pro tip here, don't start your book with your character waking up from a dream. That is a no-no in the publishing world. Don't do it. Also don't do let out the breath that she didn't know she was holding and like, I actually have some TikToks coming out about that. We've been talking about that a lot in the author world, so stay tuned. I've got some fun, like, cliche things that aren't something you should do anymore. You're about to start reading Jaded. Yay, exciting! What is my writing routine like? Oh no, that jumped on me. Hold on. Oh, I found it, thank goodness. Wow. Oh, and Danielle, you're here. I'm excited that you're here, girl. My writing routine, I have 3 screens on my screen, my manuscript, my timeline, my character information, and I sit down and I write to a specific word count every single day that I am sitting down writing. I do treat it like a business, and I make sure that I get my work done in the time frame allotted to me. If for some reason I cannot get to where I wanted to be, I will have to then add that word count on to the next day. Like if something extreme happens and I don't make it, it gets tacked on to the next day. So I have to do it, which means I have to write more the next day. So I never like say, oh, it's okay. Because if I do that, then it's never going to get written. So I always treat it like a business and I make sure I get that done. And I do a specific word count every single day to get to where I need to be. All right, scrolling. Hey, thanks for joining. Appreciate y'all being here. The more you talk to me, the more likely you are to win. And one ebook of your choice. Everything is up for grabs except for the omnibuses because that's more than one book in a single story. But I want to hear from you guys. We are here hanging out for another 15-ish minutes answering your questions. We're going to get as many answers as possible. And don't forget, we've got brand new merch, including our Book Talk Made Me Read It shirt, Amazon Prime, and Redbubble. There's also some stuff on my website. You can check that out. That was terribly held up. Sorry, guys. Terribly held up. That's in the link in my bio, so you guys can go check those things out. We're raising money. We're raising money because we had a little bit of an incident. My poor mother, she bought a house. The guy covered up a ton of stuff, and she has to pay $25,000 to get a new drain field because he covered it up. So we're raising money because $25,000 is a lot to have right this very second so that her house stops flooding. So help a girl out. Go buy a shirt. Or other swag. There's notebooks, there's clocks, there's blankets, there's like sweatshirts, all sorts of cool things. Go check it out. Redbubble and Amazon Prime. Would you ever do a mini vlog on here with a day in the life of a writer to show your routine? Yes, I do vloggy things a lot here on TikTok. I do them, or I'm going to be doing more of them over on YouTube. That was hard, sorry guys. But also, the life of an author is pretty boring. It really just involves me sitting and typing. There's not a ton that I can like, unless you want to sit there and watch me type. But I do have a brand new series here on TikTok. It is the In Other Words series where I'm giving you synonyms for words we frequently use as writers. And I kind of take you through my day. So you'll like see me doing my makeup and like getting in my car and driving somewhere and like typing and like doing the things. But kind of takes you through a day in my life as you're watching through that series as well. But yeah, if you want more information on what I do, please ask me questions. I'll answer in the direction you want me to go in. Google Doc or Words, whichever program you use. I use Word. I know some people use Google Docs and some people use Scrivener as well. But for me, I'm just basic Google Doc. Hey, thanks for jumping in. April, excited to see you. I use Friends for templates, explain the character rules, and get permission. Yeah, just be super careful with that because they could come back at you later even if they verbally say yes now. use a random name picker, or you ask my people and Google. Yeah, you could totally do something like that as well. Oh, we got conversation going. I love it. I love it. Any advice for new authors? I'm trying to write a novel right now and would love some pointers. Go to youtube.com/KMRobinsonBooks. I've got tons and tons of tutorials and resources over there that you can be checking out as well. If you're brand new as an author, please plot your book. I know not all of you want to, but it's going to save you a ton of time and effort to fix all of your mistakes if you plot it first. Trust me. I'm not a plotter. I'm not. But I do recommend, if you're just getting into it, plot your book. Suck it up and do it. It's going to make your life a lot easier. And then once you understand how to do this after writing a couple of them, then you can do whatever you want. But start off with plotting. It's just going to save you a ton of time and effort and a ton of errors. How do you get a professional editor? You hire one. If you are going into the traditionally published world, your publisher will do that for you. If you're going into the indie world, you have to look them up. You can ask in author groups. So go to author groups on Facebook and search in the tab before you ask. You can go to places like readsy.com, or you can ask authors, or you can go to your favorite books that you know are edited well and look it up in their acknowledgments. Usually, they thank an editor. Look that person up. Can you tell me to go right and the end of the feed? Oh, at the end of the feed. Go write your book. When writing, do you have the entire plot sketched out before you begin? I recommend that new writers plot your book so that you know every single step. It's going to save you a ton of time and effort. I think that's really important. I would never, ever, ever suggest that anybody not plot their book if they have not written multiple books. Once you've written multiple books, do your thing. If you want to pants it, feel free. If you want to be in between, if you want to plant it like I do your thing. But as a new writer, as somebody who doesn't have the experience, as somebody who is not trained and has not come up with a system for this, plot your book. You don't have to listen to this advice, but it's gonna save you a ton of time and effort and stress, and you won't hit writer's block and all the things. Just do it. It is well worth it. Hi, thanks for joining. Appreciate y'all being here. If you've got questions, we've got a couple more minutes. I would love to get your questions answered as we're here hanging out for the next 10-ish minutes. We are going to be giving away a book in just a few minutes, and then I'm headed out to buy a celebratory cake because my mother's retiring today because some cool things are going on that I can't tell you about yet, but I will be telling you as soon as I'm allowed to. So we're celebrating her semi-retirement with cake and dinner tonight. I have to go pick it up before dinner, which means I have to do this early, which is why we're here an hour earlier than usual. So thanks for showing up. I appreciate you being here. Pokélou, who I know you're working on a lot of things right now. Any hints on when the next novel drops? No. I love my surprise drops. Sometimes I tell you guys in advance, sometimes I don't, but I have found when I surprise drop books and I get everything ready, I've got everything done, I get them up on all the buying platforms, and then I pop in hey guys, new book today, brand new, it's today. I hit the #1 category charts. And I like that. So I like to do my surprise drops. So no, I'm not going to tell you when. I'm just going to tell you big freaking things, and holy wow, just wow. They're going to be good. You're going to like them. What's your favorite aesthetic for your characters? I don't know. Wow, I just deer in headlights with that one. I don't know. I'm all over the place with my aesthetics, I guess. Because I do the retellings, and I do the dystopians, and I do the fantasy, and I do the sci-fi, and I like to put my girls in pretty dresses. Whether that is big, puffy Hunger Game type stuff from Sugar Coated, or the sleek and elegant fashion-y type things of Jaded, or the Once Upon a Time fashion from Virtually Sleeping Beauty, or the mermaid tales from the Sirenor Saga and the Sinking. I love my fashion and glamorous things. I'm a very fashion-y girl. Back in high school, they dubbed me a fashion diva. I don't know why the popular girl said it. I don't know. I just took it to heart back then. But I've always loved fancy outfits. So you will you will see me like dressed up all the time. I wear t-shirts for the Author Convos series here on TikTok to represent my reader, because readers tend to be a little more casual in my series. And I had to go out and buy them special because I don't own them. So I like my higher end fashion for that. So like, give me all the glamour. That's my aesthetic, I guess. You love the In Other Words series. I'm so glad. It's been interesting doing that. It's been interesting coming up with these synonyms. So if you have questions about words that you frequently use that you need alternatives for, please go ahead and drop those suggestions on any of my TikToks for the In Other Words series. I add them to a list and I am just like working my way through them. So I got you covered, y'all. Oh, it jumped again. I usually have to write to the sound of loud children. Haha, that happens. That happens. You're a stay-at-home mom of 4 during quarantine. Girl, power to you. That's awesome. I used to be a school teacher, so I feel you. What's the best way to plot, do you think? Well, I don't plot, so I feel like I do give a little advice on this, but I try not to give too much because I'm not somebody who implements a ton of that, because I'm right in between plotting and pantsing. But I do recommend, like, typically I have found working backwards works well. So, like, have your starting point, have something in the middle, and then have your ending point. And then when you know your ending point, reverse engineer it to get back to those middle points and get back to that early stage. Because you're going to have a dramatic character development arc in there, and you kind of want to work it back. So, like, where you want your character to end, work it back. And then you'll see that change a little more dramatically and a little more emphatically inside of your story. So work it back. That's what I got for you. All right. Congrats. I'm assuming this is on my mother's semi-retirement. Thank you. Appreciate it. Random question. What's my favorite flower? So here's a fun story. I am exceptionally allergic to flowers, just like Jade in the Jaded Duology. Yes, I wrote that in there because I have spent my life having people tell me I'm not actually allergic to it and that I don't actually get sick from flowers. I'm allergic to everything scented. It's bad. So I wrote it into a story because I feel like it's really important. It's not something we really talk about. So I can't be around flowers, but I love flowers. If you watch, all of my bookshelves are just like covered in silk flowers because I love them. So I'm a big fan. I feel like I don't have a favorite just because I've always been like, oh, I can't with flowers. But I love things like roses and lilacs and like orchids. They're just, so pretty. Anything with like bright colors. I tend to be like purples and pinks, but I grew up like around a pond, so like tiger lilies, very, very important to me. I just love pretty things. Like, you guys know I love my succulents. They're everywhere. I love flowers. They just have to be fake because if they're not, I die. Not really, but like almost. Not even kidding on that one. Scrolling. Oh no, scrolling. There we go. Hey, thanks for joining. I appreciate y'all being here. Do I have to have a huge presence on social media before I publish my book? Oh, Fran, this is one I like answering. No, you do not. In fact, you should not be talking about writing a book until you have a buy link for your book. As somebody who teaches marketing, as somebody in the publishing industry, as somebody who has helped many authors become bestsellers, please don't talk about your writing until you've got a buy link. You are going to actually lose your audience. Not all of them, but you're going to lose enough that it's problematic. Don't talk about it. And if you're trying to get into the traditional space, don't talk about it because they want to control the narrative. That could cost you a book contract. But then once you do, please talk about your book. As soon as it's like 3 months out and you've got a buy link, market hardcore. You don't have to have a big following. You can build that. But what I do recommend is that you do try to have a following, just not as an author, as a book lover. I recommend people to create a platform for themselves surrounding the concepts that you're going to be writing about. So if you are a retellings author, talk about good retellings that are out there. Create a fandom of other fans of that genre. Because then when it comes to the time that it's your turn, you're already going to have people who trust you and your opinions because you've talked about and you've worked around these really cool retellings from other authors. So when it comes to be your turn, they're going to be here to support you. So you can transition from like reader and fan person into, hey, also I've got one. But don't go into it being like, I'm an author, I'm a writer, if you're not actually going to be a professionally published person very soon with a buy link. And also, on that note, if you start talking about a book super early that you know is going to be published, like a year later, you're going to lose people because they're going to assume that it's already out and that they missed it or that like it's out. So when it comes to the time that you are debuting it, they're going to be like, well, what's the big deal? I've already waited forever and ever and ever. I can wait another month, and then they're never going to get around to reading it. I'm just saying. We've studied this hardcore in the industry. Three months is good. 3 months before it comes out, and you've got a buy link so that they can pre-order it. Or do like me and do the surprise releases the day of. It builds up way more hype. But no, you don't have to have a big following. I do suggest you start like a book lover following and then transition it. That's definitely going to help you, and that will definitely get you early readers, but you don't have to. Which do you prefer to write, first person or one perspective or multiple? So I do have some of each. I've got single point of views and then dual point of views. I think it's really fun, but I also think it depends on the book and the story I'm trying to tell. I feel like I don't necessarily have a favorite. Sometimes I feel it's really important to get the other character's point of view. Like with the Jaded duology, she's forced to marry the commander's son. So her dad started a rebellion when she was a child. It was discovered. Now as an 18-year-old, she's being forced to marry the enemy's son. They're going to make everybody believe they love her, bring her into the family, murder her, make it look like an accident to get back at her father. I wanted you to have that scared feeling like you weren't sure, is he really going to kill her or not? You don't know. She doesn't know for sure. So we actually have a dual point of view so that you can see what she's going through. All that scared feelings, all those horrible things, all that, is he going to, is he not going to? We don't know. And then you see his point of view. And you find out what's really going on, what she doesn't know. And that just adds to the horror that the reader is going through, because you see some of the behind-the-scenes things that are in the works, so she doesn't know when this horrible thing is coming, but he does. Or maybe she overhears what's going on, and then we get more details on it. So I really like the dual point of view for that, but I don't do it for all of them. I definitely have some that I do and some that I don't, and I think it depends on each book. And I don't know if I have a favorite. I don't know if I have a favorite. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one. But it's kind of fun to see both points of view. And get that, like, extra bonus in there for that. Hey, I want to read an enemy to lover book. Any recommendations? The Jaded Duology, by me. Lions and Lamps, by me. Even Virtually Sleeping Beauty, by me, is kind of enemies to lovers. Nope. Hold on, I'm going through my titles. I'm like, where is it? Oh, Along Came a Spider, my Little Miss Muffet retelling. Enemies to lovers. Cinderella, by me, that's my Cinderella assassin story. Enemies to lovers. I'm like going through all my covers here. Hold on. I feel like there's gotta be at least one more enemies to lovers that I've done. Goose Girl and the Artificial is kind of enemies to lovers, but also kind of just like strangers to lovers. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. But yeah, lots of those. I write them all the time. I like enemies to lovers. Wow, lots of you jumped on. Hey. You love my hat? Why, thank you. I just got this the other day. I went to the store and I found hats in multiple colors and I'm like, yes, please. So I'm a big hat person. Where's it from? Oh, I got it from Walmart. They had several colors on Walmart. There's also some good ones on like Amazon right now. And Bass. My favorite hat came from the Bass shop. Not like the fishing place, the clothing company Bass. I want to say Like the teenage-y stores in the mall usually have them. All sorts of good places. But yeah, you can check all those fun things out. Hi, hello. Oh, I'm so glad that I could be helpful on that one. Fantastic. And we got to the end of the questions just in time to do our giveaway. Okay, guys. Now is the time. We are going to do our giveaway. So here's what you need to know. I am going to scroll through all the comments. I will stop on a comment, and that person will get an ebook of their choice. You can pick anything that is not an omnibus, because omnibuses have multiple books in one, but it is totally up to you what you would like. I am going to send that to you probably later tonight or tomorrow. Your job is to DM me, so you have to contact me through TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and let me know that you were the winner, and I will get you the ebook of your choice. And don't forget, here before we pick those, a couple of announcements. We do have our brand new merch available on Amazon Prime and on Redbubble and on my website. You can go check those out right now. Link is in the bio. We are raising money to help with a fantastic cause, which we've been talking about today and we will continue to talk about as we're raising money for this one. This is awful. Awful situation, but we are helping. And we've got some cool things coming with the Author Convos series, the Reader Convos series, the In Other Words series, and some cool things I haven't told you about yet that are coming that are really cool. We did just hit 10K followers, 10,000 followers today. In fact, we're up to 10.7 last I checked. So bring your friends, because now I've unlocked some cool things that we can do here on TikTok. I'm very excited for it. Big things are coming. If you have not followed the YouTube page, please go hit up youtube.com/CamRobinsonBooks, where I do live readings, live book cover designs, where you get to help me make decisions, and we're going to have some really fun things going on, spin-offs of our series here on TikTok. Plus, we're kicking off our interview series again, where I'm hanging out with fabulous people that you guys know and love, my Disney animator friends, best-selling authors. We hang out with people like A.G. Howard, Splintered, and Elise Kova of Air Awakens, and like all the cool, fabulous people. So go over to the YouTube page. We're actually going to be building that up next, so hit over there. It's going to be lots and lots of fun, and now's the time. Here we go. When do I do the live book cover designing? Oh, okay, so real quick, let me answer that one. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m., I am live streaming with the live book readings, and then Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, we do the live book cover design. You can buy it while I'm live on air for only $100, and if you don't, it goes into the coveraday.com website, where there are hundreds of covers I have created as pre-created covers. That's not the word. Pre-designed covers. Covers. And custom covers as well, and they go up significantly in price. They usually start at $250 or $300 per, so it's like over half off if you buy it while I'm on air. And you can go check that out at coveraday.com for more information on that one. Okay, we're giving this away because I have to get in a car and I have to get in a car and go buy a cake for a celebration tonight. So, fun times there. Let's go ahead and let me scroll on this one. So sometimes this unfortunately does do the weird like filtery thing as I go, and I'm just gonna keep scrolling here. Again, I don't limit how many times you can win, so you can actually win multiple times. I'm like, I have to go slowly because so many of you came on that it makes it really, really hard. All right, there we go. Our winner for today is the fabulous Pokey Lou Who. Pokey Lou Who, thanks so much for joining. Let me know what book cover you would like. Book cover. Which of the ebooks you would like. Send me a DM here on TikTok or over on Instagram or on Facebook, and your choice. Like I said, I don't limit you, so you can win more than once and get some really cool prizes. If you've got more questions, stay tuned because we are here every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, except today was 3 because I have things to do. But actually, I had a lot of people on today. Should we change it to 3? Is this like a good time for you guys? Quick, let me know before I sign off. Is this a good time? We may actually do it earlier, which would then prevent me from having to run out in future episodes as well. But I would love to get your questions answered. We do have some random ones we are going to be doing next week, so stay tuned. I am going to be popping on, showing you some fun things, debuting some new merch. We've got all the cool things. You like this time? Okay. let's officially change it to 3 p.m. Eastern every Friday we jump on here. That's actually probably better for my schedule too. And I like it. I like that y'all were here hanging out. This is fun, right? If you have questions, please drop them on my TikToks. I am answering things on TikTok and on YouTube over the next week or so. Dropping brand new content on YouTube. Oh, man. Wait till you see what I have planned for you in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be epic. So make sure you head over and hit the subscribe and notification bell. Please leave questions that I can be answering on TikTok in TikTok videos, so like short answers over there, or leave me long answers for YouTube. And please go leave comments on 3 of my videos, and then go find another author and leave 3 comments on their videos to support them so we can build up their platforms as well. Like I said, we just hit 10K, which means I unlocked the ability to do things. I'm monetized here on TikTok, which means I can start making money off of my videos. So the more you comment and interact with them and watch through them, the more it will help me to make more TikToks for you guys. So thank you. I appreciate it. But go leave all the fun love on the videos. Plus, I don't know if you're watching them if you don't talk to me. And I really like to talk to you guys. I'm an introvert, so like talking in person, but talking in my comments, that makes me happy. So please go leave some comment love. I do appreciate it. Thank you, my dear, wonderful friends. We will have a fantastic celebratory dinner. My mother's semi-retiring tonight. We have some other big news in my family. So we're doing the celebrating tonight, and I am excited for it. I'm thinking about wearing the hat. I do have a 1.5-year-old niece who might pull it off my head. What do you think? Should I wear it? We'll find out. All right, guys, stay tuned, because over the next, 2 to 3 weeks, we're dropping Christmas bookish gift ideas. Some connected to me, some connected to just books in general. We're going to do crafts. I'm getting you ready for the Christmas holiday season. If you're giving gifts, I got you. I have some bonus things. I am doing a book box that you will be able to special limited time only order for the Christmas season. But I'm dropping all that information early next week, so stay tuned. Big things are happening, and then pay attention, because I'm doing live streams on YouTube to help you get ready for Christmas with bookish wish lists and gift-giving guides and crafts you can make for people and just all sorts of things. So stay tuned. It's going to be big. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be fantastic, and I will see you all again next week. Thanks so much for all of your love and your encouraging comments and just sticking around with me and hanging out. Just y'all are the best. Y'all are the best. I hope you have a fantastic day. Stay inspired, and I may try to pop on this weekend because I might just be able to work that into my schedule. So big things coming. I can't wait. I'll see you guys again for sure next Friday at the new and improved 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and then for some special bonuses. Until then, I hope you all have a great day and stay inspired. Bye, friends.